financial goal.
You want more money? Turn what you know into dough. Start hanging out with the people who have it. You create wealth on your own terms. It is not only your right, but your duty to build wealth.
You are fiscally fabulous,
and it's time to enjoy your legacy.
You're listening to Fiscally Fabulous with Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire, a podcast that aims to provide you with the tools, guidance, and encouragement you need to build your wealth, enjoy your wealth, and leave a lasting legacy. Dr. Martin is an accomplished attorney, speaker, business consultant, and real estate strategist, an all-around self-made success who provides highly sought-after expert consulting in the creation, growth, and maintenance of generational wealth.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire, my name is Chrissy Bartels, and you're listening to Fiscally Fabulous. House flipping. It's all the rage right now, from shows like Flip or Flop, Fixer Upper, and The Property Brothers, just to name a few. It's hard to turn on the TV or scroll through a news feed online without seeing some mention or image of a house being flipped. And driving around town, you're likely to see one or more signs up that read, "We buy ugly houses every day." With so much programming and advertisements around on the subject, it would seem everyone is flipping, or at least knows someone who is. But is flipping a house worth it? Well, before we get into answering that, for anyone who may still be in the dark on this, let's first answer the question, what is house flipping? House flipping is when a property investor buys a house with the intention to fix it up and quickly resell it. This can involve making much-needed repairs to the property, upgrading rooms like the bathroom and/or kitchen, as well as implementing a new design style and so on. All of these changes are done with the intention and hope of increasing the property's value. So, when the investor goes to turn around and sell it, he or she will be able to make a profit. And that brings us back to our first question. Can you still turn a profit by flipping a house? In this episode, we'll look to answer this question by exploring a handful of useful tips that you can use to increase your chances of a successful, profitable house flip. On the surface, it certainly sounds simple and straightforward. Buy a property at low cost, fix it up to increase its value, and turn around and sell it for a profit. It truly sounds like a no-brainer. But this simple narrative can be deceiving, as the house flipping process is anything but simple. It takes real effort and savvy to flip a house properly. With that in mind, I'd like to share with you some tips that can help ensure a successful house flip. Tip number 1. Have some extra money in the bank. It's common for those who flip houses to pay in cash for the property up front. After purchasing the property, they'll invest more funds to repair or remodel the home. Since we're already talking thousands of dollars in cash up front to pay for the property as the investor, you want to be sure you have that extra cash on hand. Not only to invest in the repairs and upgrades, but also to combat any unforeseen expenses. For example, let's say you decide to retile the bathroom floor, and you've based the costs on a certain type of tile. Unfortunately, days before the remodel is set to begin, you're informed that the tile you had originally selected is not available for at least 6 months. If you'd like to go with the same design, you're offered a very similar tile, but this would now cost you twice as much on the bathroom remodel. Now, of course, you could wait, but then you'd likely be losing money as you wouldn't be able to sell the home. And the idea here is to turn it around fast for the profit. Alternatively, you could go with a different, cheaper tile. In this case, you'd want to be sure this alternative, cheaper tile would still mesh well with your current design for the bathroom. Otherwise, you could be looking at a massive design headache. The point here is, whether you decide to wait, go with the more expensive tile, or opt for the cheaper tile, by having that extra money in the bank, you now have options. Having these options will especially come in handy during moments like these. Tip number 2. Being a hard worker is a must for greater profits. Listen, I get it. You've worked hard to research, find, and negotiate for the purchase of this property. Now it sounds nice to take a breather, relax, and rest your feet as you pat yourself on the back. But here's the thing. Your work is far from over. You may have completed round 1, but this process is not anywhere near done. You know the saying, the early bird catches the worm? Well, this is particularly true when it comes to house flipping. Ideally, you should be getting to work on it the day you buy it. Yes, the day you buy it. Look, every day you're not working on flipping that house is a day that someone is flipping a house and will likely be ready one day sooner to bring that house to the market than you are. You've just lost 1 or more days of potential offers from home buyers. And for all you know, that day could have been when the perfect buyer came around. So don't wait. Have those celebrations after you've finished flipping and selling the house. Now, here are a few tips on how to keep that momentum going. 1. Make sure to clear out any clutter or garbage found inside the home. 2. You'll of course want to walk through every room in the house to see what needs to be done to update and improve the home before you try to sell it. Hopefully you did this before you purchased the property, but it's a good idea to go through it once more with a fresh set of eyes. Remember, this home has had X number of previous residents. Perhaps the most recent homeowners were smokers, in which case you'd want to check the quality of any carpets or drapes in the home. Or maybe the previous owner had several pets who may have peed on the carpet or scratched up those nice wood floors. If the previous owners had children, you may find scuff marks on bedroom walls where there may have been some roughhousing or playing ball indoors. Or worse yet, you may find that a previous owner decided to attempt some major home repairs himself, hoping to add to his DIY credentials. I know of someone personally who purchased a home and, after several years of living there with no major issues, suddenly discovered something unsettling about their master bathroom. One morning, they happened to notice the bathroom floor had an ever so slight dip. Barely noticeable at first. It became more prominent over time to the point where a home inspector was called in. To everyone's shock, what the inspector discovered was the shower had at one point been remodeled, and in doing so had been rigged to drain improperly, meaning the wood structure underneath the house had been getting wet and rotting slowly over time. Needless to say, they were shocked that the initial inspection at the time of purchase did not pick up on this. It would mean the homeowner would have to fix this in order to ever sell this house. The cost for this repair? Around $10,000. So, as you can see, it's a good idea to walk through each room early on so that you know what you're dealing with and can better estimate your expenses on the remodel. You certainly don't want to be blindsided by an unexpected $10,000 expense. 3. In consultation with your contractor, make a list of all the supplies you will need to complete the work. Knowing what you need and having the right supplies can save you a lot of money on the front end. This is another reason why it's so important to go through every room thoroughly. 4. Once you've successfully tackled the interior remodel, then you can move on to landscaping by adding some carefully placed bushes or flower beds, perhaps even a small tree or two. This will help give the home an inviting feel. Just make sure you time things right with the seasons. You certainly don't want to plant a bed of roses in the summer to spruce up the outside of the home when you're not going to be able to put it on the market until late fall. By then, your roses will have already died back, leaving the front yard with nothing but bare, bland flower stems. And sure, not having blooming flowers in the yard isn't necessarily going to put the sale in jeopardy, but it's always a good idea to make the best possible first impression. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll dive even deeper into the topic of flipping houses. Have you been struggling to close your deals? Maybe you're ready to make a change and truly create wealth for yourself and your family. But real estate seems too intimidating and overwhelming. The Real Estate Investors Association NYC, REIA NYC, helps experienced and aspiring investors and professionals understand the importance of legislation, funding, and education in the real estate businesses. We'll teach you where to invest. We'll teach you how to identify a good purchase. We'll give you a checklist. We'll teach you how to invest by the numbers. We'll help you build a real team. Subscribe to the REIA NYC community today. Visit reianyc.org to learn more and subscribe. Getting back to our house flipping tips, here's number 3. Know what buyers look for. Remember, this house isn't about you. It's about what the market wants. The people who are most likely to buy this house. What do they hope or expect to see? An open kitchen? Hardwood floors throughout? Are they expecting a big backyard? Certain light fixtures in the ceiling? This is where good, exhaustive research of the market can come in handy. Before you buy the property yourself, you should be getting to know the neighborhood. What's the average income of residents in the area? Are these residents mostly young single professionals, seniors, or families with young children? What's around the area that could drive up or decrease value? Are there schools nearby, shops, restaurants? Is crime an issue? All of these can have a huge impact on the value of a home. What potential homeowners need, want, and more importantly, can afford. And what you'll need to do to the home to make it appealing to the market and make a profit. Again, you need to be thinking about what the buyer wants. This is when you'll want your keen eye and sense of design to go to work. 4. Do you have building or remodeling experience? If you have any experience remodeling a home, then you're in luck, as you'll be able to save on labor costs. However, if home construction is not your strong suit, then you'll likely need to hire a reputable company to do the work required. This, of course, means you'll need to pay for that labor, an added expense that hopefully you'll factor in at the beginning. This is another example of why it helps immensely to follow tip number 1 and have extra cash in the bank. Not only will you be having to pay for this labor, but in most cases, the supplies as well. And it's crucial here that you do your due diligence and take the time to find a reputable contractor. Because as one homeowner by the name of Alan, featured in a 2017 article by Tara Mastroni on Realtor.com, can tell you, getting the wrong contractor can sometimes result in a nightmare. Here's his story. In one of the first houses we ever flipped, we used the cheapest contractors we could find instead of the most qualified. I came to regret that decision while hosting our first open house when a prospective homebuyer visited the restroom and found out the hard way that the bathroom pipes had actually been rerouted to the kitchen sink. When he flushed the toilet, its contents started spewing out of the kitchen faucets. Ew! It doesn't get more horrifying than that. Not only is that disgusting, but a mistake like that puts the chances of selling the home into serious jeopardy. In fact, in all likelihood, they wouldn't be able to sell that house at all without getting the plumbing fixed. In the end, it's just more unexpected expenses eating away at your profit margin. But let's say you've avoided Alan's mistake. You've managed to find a reliable company that is likely to do an excellent job, and you've covered the cost of any supplies needed. Great, but then there is a downside to this. All these labor and supply costs will decrease your profit margin. This is one area in the house flipping process where you stand to lose the most money. So what's one thing you can do to offset this potential loss of profit? Tip number 5, pay as little as possible for the purchase of the property. It's simple. The less money you need to spend up front, the more you'll have on hand to put towards the remodel, and you'll stand a greater chance of making a profit when you turn around to sell it. It's a good idea here to have several properties in mind so that if you're not getting the price you need or want on one, it may be that another property owner is ready to sell to you at a much lower price. Getting the right price up front could be the difference in making a profit in the end or not. Tip number 6, vacation spots sell really well. Who doesn't like the beach? Of course, not everyone does, but with the amount of beachside real estate programming on TV and online, you'd be forgiven if you thought just about everyone. Or how about a cozy little hideaway in the mountains? And what's even better than the beach or the mountains? Having your own newly remodeled house on the beach or in the mountains. Properties flipped in or near popular vacation areas have a much greater potential for success than anywhere else. For one, people are attracted to lower-cost vacation homes in such areas. Prices for homes here, even small ones, can be high. So if you're able to flip and resell something as desirable as a beachfront property at or below market value, you are sure to get a lot of offers. And if you've planned things properly on the front end, if you manage to purchase the property at the lowest possible price and keep those remodeling costs within reason, you may very well walk away with a profit when it's all said and done. Tip number 7, know the real estate market in the area where you plan to flip a property. Now, theoretically, if you have the money, means, and a little know-how, you can buy, flip, and resell a house anytime you want to. But just because you can, does that mean you should? Absolutely not. Research potential markets first. If you come to find no one is buying or mortgage loans are increasingly harder to come by, these are strong indicators that it may not be the best time to flip a house in this particular market. After all, what would be the point to flipping a house in a market where no one could buy it? You'd wind up sitting on a money pit. As long as the home sits unoccupied, you'll end up having to put more money into it to keep it up to date for when it finally does sell. If, however, you've managed to buy a property for, say, $30,000, $40,000, and you only need to put another $10,000 to $20,000 into it for the remodel, and then you're able to turn around and sell the home for at least $80,000, you stand to make an excellent profit. You just want to be smart about when, where, and how. Research the market to find out the best time of year to flip a house. Study the neighborhoods and find out which ones are likely to have the greatest number of potential buyers, and have a plan in place for how you intend to tackle the remodel, whether you'll be doing a lot of the work yourself or hiring a team to do it for you. So, going back to our questions at the top of the episode, can you still turn a profit by flipping houses? Of course you can. But the real key here to getting there is following the steps outlined here. It isn't enough to just up and decide to randomly flip a house. With that strategy, you're likely to lose money, not make it. But if you follow these steps, if you take time to understand the intricacies of the market, if you budget wisely and keep extra cash in the bank, if you hire the right people and put your know-how and design skills to their best use, then yes, you can be successful flipping houses. And when you have made that profit, that's when you can relax, put up your feet, and celebrate. Thank you for listening, everyone. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast or visit us at www.enjoyyourlegacy.com/Fiscally Fabulous Podcast to learn more. On behalf of Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire, I'm Chrissy Bartels, reminding you to enjoy your legacy because you are fiscally fabulous.
This has been Fiscally Fabulous with Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire. If you would like to learn more on how you can build generational wealth and leave a lasting legacy, go to www.enjoyyourlegacy.com and be sure to subscribe. Thank you for listening. Until next time.